be quiet because I didn't know when they were going to go live. So this morning we are going to start off with another large group session known as a plenary. It's one of my new favorite words. And this person, you already know who's on the schedule, but I do want to tell you a little story. As we were seeking folks to come and talk about AI, I kept hearing this name, and it excited me a little bit because this person is still active duty, which means we have some great innovators and big AI thinkers still on active duty. So that's exciting. His bio is in the folder, so I'm not going to read all of that, but I do want to give a special welcome to today's very first guest. No pressure, starting off in the morning, but Master Sergeant Ben Stratton. All you. No pressure.
I know the nerves. This is why I have this fidget here because I can't get over my nerves. So, good morning, everyone. Is this working? I'm just too tall, or you're too short. So, I'm Master Sergeant Ben Stratton. I'm the Emerging Technology Program Manager for the Air Force Public Affairs Agency at Randolph Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. Essentially, my job is artificial intelligence research, development, testing, and evaluation for the public affairs enterprise in the Air Force. So what we're trying to establish here is how do we get time back and spend that time back where trust is built. And we learned a lot about that yesterday. It seemed like every briefer talked about how the human relations, those interactions, are the most important part of how we move forward with AI. So that's how we ignite storytelling. It's deciding what those returned hours are for. AI will give us time back. Where the time goes is a choice. And it's ours to make, not the tools. The false one is more content means faster. We've been doing this thing for the last few decades where we're like, we can do so much more with less. But where does that leave us? Training has been lost in the field. Media operations has been lost in the field. Community engagement has been lost in the field. Mission partner support has been lost in the field. So how do we use this moment, our generation's industrial revolution or information revolution, to give us that time back for training, for media, for ComRel, for mission partner support? But before we get into that, this is who I am. You've got the bio apparently in the folders. My first deployment was with the Navy. I am a shellback, for Navy people here who know that. I see some Navy guys right there. I've been deployed all over the place in all sorts of COCOMs. And what I learned is that those interactions that we make with our partners downrange, our partners in nations that we're there providing humanitarian support, that's how we get the stories. But how do we tell the story faster is with AI now. This is like the coolest part that we have. I came back to DINFOS with a question I could not ignore. I graduated from DINFOS in February 2008 from B past W as a writer. Our final project was laying out and designing a newspapers. And then I wrote my first prompt in January 2025, my first massive prompt using JSON at an Azure demo in Austin. Microsoft was putting on this big thing for the military, and we learned what we're moving toward, how we can build prompts that are smarter. When you go to the barber shop, you don't tell somebody, I want a haircut. You think you're going to get whatever that barber wants to give you, right? You tell the barber, for me, I want a medium high with a one on the side, a little trim on the top, and get my eyebrows because they get super bushy. That's prompting. We prompt our own humans all the time. So do that with AI. Give AI the context it needs to understand how to give you the output you want. And so we do that with AI research and development for the PA enterprise. We can make AI useful without making trust negotiable by giving it the right context, by giving it the right prompts. So the pressure is real. The lesson is optional. This is our industrial revolution. I'm going to repeat myself a lot because apparently that's how humans learn. This is our information revolution in knowledge work. We can redistribute how that knowledge work is done so that we can put the humans out on the flight line where they belong, getting the content, doing the historical documentation. The AI does not decide what the time is worth. The AI does not have a one white common access card. That's us. Production became the shop. Every, say, Air Force Wing PA shop, the majority of our manning sits in command information. Say a shop has 70% of the manning sitting in command information doing production, doing content generation. The 30% is then for media, for ComRel, for plans and programs, for administrivia work. But what if we could use AI to reshape our force, to reshape where we're putting the people, do that human-in-the-loop work that the AI can't replace? Trust cannot be automated. AI can generate, but it cannot replace the witness. You are the witness. You are the historical documenters. You are the ones writing history, not the AI. The AI is only predicting what you want to hear. It's generating content from what you've created because you are the historical documenters. So generate is not capture. And we have to understand how important this is, especially when we're talking about forensic photography. How do we draw the line between when we're talking about creating content for social media or creating content for a safety investigation board? How do we draw the line so people understand, those lawyers, those investigators can trust that the photographs they're looking at is real, is from us. So the public can trust what they're looking at is from us. That's content provenance that Ken talked about yesterday. That's making sure that humans are doing what the humans are really good at. The humans are on the flight line. The humans are next to the tank. Be present, earn the source, become the historical record of what occurred. That is our job. That is your job. The machine can synthesize an image. It can assist in editing, captioning, sequencing, export, distribution, all those wonderful, fun things that take so much time. But we have to keep people at the gates that carry consequence. The AI doesn't have the release authority. We have the release authority. So the correction preserves what happened. Provenance is the receipt, how we track it, whether it's the information or the imagery. Release authority never moves. It remains with you. Now map the work before you move the people. Capacity is a design decision. It is not something AI does to you. It's not an infliction on your work. So in order to understand what the field needs, AFPA sent out 3 questionnaires to the field. We did a needs assessment, a best practices questionnaire, and a contracting questionnaire. We want to understand what the field needs because we can't build from the top and expect everyone in the field to get what they want. We have to get from the bottom what they actually need so that we can take care of them. So what the field needs? Manning, not more AI. But they want AI training. They want policy, and they want DINFOS curriculum that gives them pipeline airmen who understand AI, that gives them intermediate level training that understands AI and how we can integrate that everywhere we do at PA. They asked for this room, and that is why I'm standing in it. That's why Chief Scaff invited me here from War Media Activity. We are here to talk about this. I can't thank Chief Scaff and the WMA enough for inviting me here to be part of this. This is why I'm so shaky. to be here in the building that started my career is amazing. And then we mapped all 198 enlisted public affairs tasks from the Air Force CFETPs against AI augmentable, AI replaceable, and human only. We additionally did that with all of the officer tasks. So a total of 428 tasks from our CFETPs, we assessed what's AI touchable. We found 69% is AI touchable. That's a big number. Then the CSAF Pathfinder program, they chose the 3 and O's, that's the Air Force career field for enlisted, to be a case study on how we can use AI to take care of things that the human can't do. So we're part of that Pathfinder program from CSAF. For those of you who aren't in the military, that's the Chief of Staff of the Air Force. That's our 4-star. And we're not looking for a people cut target. We want to reshape how we do business. We want to reshape where the people are doing the work. We want to put people where only people can do the work. And we know PA professionals are already using AI. The problem isn't adoption, it's fragmentation. Everyone is doing their own thing. And that's the problem. We have to unsilo. We have to become one military force, one federal government, one collaborating force where we work together to understand how to use AI. This siloing thing we've been doing for the last few decades is not working. This is how the enemy owns us. We have to work together. So units are building similar tools independently. There's no inheritance, no doctrinal alignment, no autonomy path, no memory. And the architecture that we've built at AFPA is called Quill. Quill solves that fragmentation by providing one structural model any PA organization can adopt. And then we have to understand how we work this through the research development, testing, and evaluation. You know, in DINFOS, we can't use acronyms, so I keep spelling out what RDT&E is. RDT&E pipeline. We assess it through these steps. If somebody wants a brand fancy new contract, why? If somebody wants a SaaS, a software as a service, why? Can we already do it in Office 365, which is already paid for on Agella? Can we already do it with Adobe, which is already paid for on Agella? Can we already do it with P3? And if you don't know what P3 is, this is the Air Force Public Affairs Productivity Portal that we use for project management and equipment management. Every PA in the Air Force uses this P3 to manage our projects, to manage our hours, so we understand where we're putting people, where we're spending time, where we have equipment. And then Quill. Quill is the no-cost, low-cost solution. We can build this in-house. We don't need another contract. You want the public's trust? Stop wasting their money. So Quill gives every prompt the same starting point. A blank chat starts from 0. There's no unit context. There's no review standard, no continuity. So we have 65 plus prompts that we've created for public affairs. We have a suite of story coach prompts from print, photo, video, and a caption writer. These help you cover the event or the story, the feature, the information story. We have prompts that help you handle the media. We have a media summary, tone analyst, press engagement coach. We have prompts that help you clear the release, a release of information advisor, a security and policy reviewer. We have prompts that help you brief the boss with a commander's communication builder, a war writer. How many people in this room have to tell the boss what you did every week? Yeah, well, we have a prompt for that. You can start a chat with this war writer prompt at the beginning of your week and then tell it every day what you did, and it'll give you a repeatable, templated output that your boss wants to see at the end of the week. You don't have to rethink about all the things you did. Just have a conversation with the AI and it'll give you the output at the end of the week. Oh yeah. If you have a question, I think the sergeant major said, use the mic.
I heard what you just said. Can that be stored and be used at the end of, be used for our end of the year evaluation? So I can't speak for anyone else, but on my job, we do a end of the year evaluation where we have to basically track what we've done for the year, and something that could track us for the week. If I could say I did this during these months and these seasons of the year, that would drastically help me.
Yes, and I have a performance writer for military and civilian that understands DP map, that understands your evaluation process, that understands how to write for civilian appraisals. And the performance writer understands how to write for military evaluations. For on the Air Force side, we call that the enlisted for the EPB, or the OPB for officers. There's a supervisor. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm Dave from the intelligence community.
Yeah.
Great programs, love it. Is this upscaled to the classified network, i.e. JUX?
So these prompts are all standalone. I'll have a QR code eventually in this slideshow, where you can scan it and you can download. I created it's a 300-page PDF portfolio with interlinking links that create this. It's like a website basically, but in a PDF. It's 5 megabytes. It has all of the prompts. You can see the markdown and how all of the prompts are written, so you can customize them and use them at your heart's will. This is open source. This is how we unsilo. This is how we work together. There's a supervisor coach, so you can understand how, if you're a civilian, how do I supervise the military? There's the supervisor coach is if you're a military, supervising a military person, you're brand new at it and you need help, we can use AI. And then we talked about media operations or crisis communication and how that's been neglected. Here's the thing. Give the junior communicator enough repetitions to sit at the table. Thanks to DINFOS and BPASW, when I showed up at Minot Air Force Base in February 2008, 6 months after the August 07 nuclear incident, I don't know if any of you remember the B-52s that decided to fly down with nukes on board to Barksdale. I showed up there 6 months later. And then 2 months after I arrived, 3-level A1C Stratton is on PA on call. And I have to respond to the missile response cell, which is the missile wings version of the Emergency Operations Center. And I have to sit at the table as A1C Stratton. But I knew what to do. I knew how to write a media advisory. I knew how to write the press release. I knew how to work with the EOC director, because DINFOS prepped me for that. I called my tech sergeant. She said, "You got this. I trust you." I was like, "No, I don't." But I did, because DINFOS prepped me for it. Are we still doing that today? Could we send an E3 to the EOC and trust them to do that job? I don't know. Senior NCOs, that's us. We should be orchestrating and developing, training. And AI will give us that time back. We can use AI to train, and every quill prompt is built on a 3-part structure. There's a quill block, there's an activity block, and there's a prompt block. And the quill block, every single prompt has this, which creates this continuity. Every time you use a quill prompt, you know what you're getting. You know it's going to coach you on that subject matter. You know it's going to coach you on how to use AI better. It also has a confidence level. So every quill prompt will ask you follow-up questions until it feels like it's 95% confident in its output before it actually gives you the output. Because that's how we get better. That's how we make sure that AI doesn't hallucinate. AI will confidently tell you that your F-16 crashed. It's sitting on the flight line, it's fine. If it doesn't have the context. So you got it from a human, but it writes the story. We are embracing AI to write our stories for us, because that takes a lot of time. We are embracing AI to write our scripts for us, because that takes a lot of time. And AI can do it in 5 minutes. You use the Story Coach print feature story. You use it to write the feature. You give it the raw interview because you're the human who got the interview, because you're really good at talking to people. Or you're an introvert like me, and this is like nerve-wracking. But one-on-one, those interviews, solid. We can use AI to free us up to do more of the human things that AI can't do. These Story Coach prompts were built on the Morel Media Awards, SOP. These prompts understand what makes a really good article. These prompts were built on Pavilion. Thank you, Pavilion, for providing all of this amazing data that we can use to make our jobs easier. Thank you for all of the humans. I've been a SME for 5 years for Pavilion. Thank you to all of the humans who have dedicated all this time and effort to creating a way to save us time. These prompts understand AP style because every model understands AP if you tell it. They understand tongue and quill if you tell it you want tongue and quill. It's not guessing at a story. It is writing to the standard your supervisor already grades against. So feature story from a Flightline visit. My interview notes and shot list from this morning's Flightline visit are below. Write the feature story. This you give it after you give it the full prompt. Hold to DAFI 35-101, which is the Air Force instruction for public affairs, and the Morel category fit. AP style, tongue and quill. Flag every assumption and every fact I still have to confirm, because we don't want it to give us an output that's terrible. We want it to always ask us more questions so it understands the context. And if you don't understand AI, you can ask AI to help you prompt better. Ask it to give you feedback on how your prompting was in that session, and it'll give you feedback. It'll help you get smarter on how to use it. And that's the point. Every Quill workflow ends with a human decision. Input, mission, and facts you gathered because you're the human in the loop. Quill understands the context, the coaching, review behavior that you expect. The draft, this is the output to inspect, not to trust, not to just blindly release, because again, AI does not have the white common access card. AI does not have the release authority, you do. You take the draft, you edit it, and you release it. Because you're the human. You verify and decide. Output does not equal authority. The tool can create the next move, but you own whether it moves. But I don't have time to learn AI. But that's the thing. The more you use AI to get the job done, the more you learn AI. So if you're using the thing that's helping you save time, you're going to learn how to use it while you're using it to get the mission done. You already have to do this work. Why not use it to save you time to get back into training, to get back into Comrel, to get back into media, to get back into crisis comms? So these are the 4 programs we're building on how we can address AI. Quill prompts, we've talked a lot about that. Quill apps, we're building 3 apps. One, Quill OS, is a Mac native Swift app that intuitively understands, based on context, what you need. It'll automatically pull the prompt that most works for the context of what you're working at. Hey, I gotta go to DINFOS and brief a bunch of people about AI, and I need to tell my boss how much it's gonna cost. Well, there is a travel estimator prompt that pulls in the per diem for the local area, that pulls in flight stats and data from the website, from the internet, so you can get to drafts you, and I'm apparently talking more with my hands now. So it drafts you that travel estimate, so your boss can approve it, and then you can go into DTS and submit it, right? But it's gonna intuitively and dynamically understand what you need. There's this field kit. The field kit is the step before this Quill app becomes available. Both are in alpha. The field kit, it will be a zip file. It'll include all of the prompts. It'll include all of the awareness of what these programs are and how we're addressing AI. And you give it ChatGPT Codex. You give it Olama. Olama is a service that allows you to use on-device models, like Gemma 412b. Gemma 412B is a very smart model that uses very little hardware requirements. So you can keep PA data on a PA device and never touch the cloud to get most of your information work done. You can be deployed downrange, not have access to the internet, and still get work done. GenAI.mil is wonderful, but you have to have a Nipper computer connected to NipperNet to use it. But what if we could do it on our Macs and don't need the internet to get our job done? What if you could do it on a Windows standalone computer with the ChatGPT codecs converted for the local models? Also building a wargaming app. This is a web app that's built on, anyone heard about Odin Date World? Ooh, one hand, two hands. Odin Date World is built by the US Army, a wonderful platform that has all sorts of fake countries with fake country leaders and fake culture and language and all of this amazing stuff. So the wargaming app is pulling all that data in and helping us run white cell and blue cell and red cell in an interactive information environment that helps us get back to training, that helps us prepare for the enemy that's already ahead of us. We can play like the enemy because the only way for us to get ahead of them is to get in their brains, to understand who they are as the human in the loop on their side. And then Quill Alphas. This is a network of really smart PAs who may not be smart at AI, but are really smart at the job and understand, hey, that prompt actually sucks, and we need to make it better. So we can send it to the Alpha network, and they can help us get better. These are practitioners who test it against the real work. So 3 rules. They hold no matter which rung you pick. Show the sources. Every claim traceable to something dated and real. Keep the human at every gate that carries consequence, and reinvest the time where their presence builds trust. So we started this presentation talking about how we're gonna get time back, how we're gonna spend it where trust is built. So pick the one rung this week. Should have chose better words there. Bring one workflow. Keep the human at the gate. So this is the QR code. If you want access to all the prompts and explainer for all of the programs we're building, scan this. This will take you to a Google Drive that has these slides and the PDF portfolio. The point is that AI isn't replacing PA, it's refocusing PA. And I don't know, the mouse does work. This is the Quill mark. It's a reinvention of our badge. Maximum disclosure, minimum delay. The Quill and the lightning bolt. This is how we move forward. Because you are still the storyteller, but the tools, they just got better. And if you want to join us tomorrow, War Media Activity has invited anyone who in this room who wants to join WMA. I'm hosting an AI Quill collab, and this is an overview of what we'll be talking about. We'll be diving deeper into Quill. We'll be diving deeper into the AI and its background. We'll be diving deeper into the prompts, how to use them, and then we're going to do a stress test, an exercise, where you'll have 5 deliverables that usually take hours to get done, and you have 45 minutes to get them done. So that is my briefing. Do I have any questions? Sure.
Hello. I've got a quick question. So I'm finding that our models that we're building have a general understanding of the AP style book, but not a specific one because it's copyrighted information. How are you guys navigating that? Do you have a license agreement? Is this more like the first run at AP and then it needs to be followed up by a human who has a better understanding in a physical style book?
That is the right answer. That's the answer that we've been...
Love to hear it.
Sorry, no, it's a bridge. We're PAs, we're trained on bridging, aren't we? You always have to be the last reviewer. You still have to know AP, because you still, just like, treat AI's drafts as your 3-level, as your apprentice's draft that you have to edit as the journeyman or craftsman in the room. That still save you time because you didn't have to do the drafting. Don't rely on the AI that you're still the human in the room. An important part too is that, and I was talking about this with Mr. Coslet last night, is that it's understanding that every model has a training date cutoff. I don't know if you understand that, but if you're talking with, say you're in generative.mil and you're having a conversation with the latest Gemma 3.5 model, its training date cutoff was roughly 6 months ago from when it released. So if 3.5 released 2 months ago, then 6 months prior to that, at least, at minimum, was its training date cutoff. So if you're trying to have a conversation about the Iran conflict, it has no idea anything's wrong in Iran right now. Unless you enable web search, you have to enable that plugin for it to have awareness of current events, current data, current AP style.
First of all, great presentation, and I'm excited to read the prompts, but to poke the bear, because that's what I like to do with some of these things. So you talked about using it to write articles. At what point then are you not writing the article and the AI is? And then are you crediting them in the article, and then does that make the trust that we talked about yesterday go down?
So DOTI 5400.19, AI in Public Affairs, makes it very clear if you use AI, you admit that you used AI. When I went through DINFOS almost 20 years ago, we were told, put an editor's note in parentheses if you had help with the article or if you got it from somewhere else. Why not do that now? Why not put an editor's note at the bottom? I used AI.
But at the bottom, not at the byline. In my mind, me writing something is sitting down and writing it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. If you're taking notes or whatever it is, you're getting facts, you got the quotes in there, but you're not sitting down and writing it. AI is. So why wouldn't AI be the byline?
You directed it. It's your creativity. The AI isn't as...
It would be the source then at the bottom.
I would put it in an editor's note because that's still a transparency that the public requires, right?
Right.
We want to always be transparent if we use AI. That's what the DOTI tells us we have to do. So we have to do that. We'll put an editor's note that says, or I mean, this is still like a conversation, right? We're still in the middle of figuring out what this revolution means.
But I'm just poking the bear, so we just kind of getting that conversation started.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Everybody else thinking, because on the side I'm an author. I don't use AI to use my writing because it's my creative process, and I do the same thing at work. It's my creative process to write, and AI is great for things like DSIPs and that kind of stuff and doing performance. But doesn't that take away from what we were trained to do to write? And I'll stop there.
It does. But where do we need the people? Sorry? Sure.
Okay, so I do public health communication. A lot of my communication is designed to persuade change behavior, not just inform or increase knowledge. And so I've been using personas to help. I'm wondering if you have any prompts, or if you've explored that at all with any of your communication.
Mine is
Okay.
called Sam, and I have one called Micah. They're very helpful. Yeah. It's interesting. So generative.mil is apparently opening up soon to work with Office 365. So then you could have I don't know if this is really answering your question, or if you just wanted to like geek out, then we can totally geek out. But once you're able to use AI to read your emails, to read your calendar, to read your SharePoints, that is where we have to move to. We have to move to a time when we're not just talking with a chat bot, we're talking with an AI that understands us, that understands our mission, that understands what we need to get the job done, what we need to maintain the public's trust. If we keep that as our lighthouse, our guiding light, the public's trust is the most important thing that we need, that we have, or don't have, according to the slide yesterday at 46%. How do we get that back? Did I answer your question, or I just kind of like talk?
I guess what I was getting at was, regardless of whether the AI is writing it, you're writing it, the AI can assess the product against certain intention. Like, so the persona, I can have a persona for a junior enlisted E3 that's married, or junior enlisted E3 that's single, or NCO with same, all the way up to senior leaders. And I can tailor the communication, or at least have evaluated against that persona to see and see how that's impacting reach, how that's impacting better engagement with the article to lead to that hopefully intended outcome. And you can add
The
metrics
audience
to it.
assessment.
Correct.
Yes, right. Audience assessment. Or you're going to red team the information you put out. You want to understand if late adopters or if women in their 50s or if men in their 60s or if people of a certain cultural background, how this content will resonate to them. And so you built all these personas so that way you can foreshadow, you can build, you can understand how this communication plan is going to work. And this is where we can use AI, because we can use AI to create these personas, to create this environment where we can use AI to red team, trying to use words that are appropriate for this setting. We can red team the poop emoji out of our content, our communication plan. We want to understand we don't have enough people to do that anymore, so we can create these personas, like you said, that replicate that cultural background. So that way, if we're in Japan, we're in Misawa Air Base, and we want to make sure that the content we're putting out isn't going to harm our relations with Japanese. Is that kind of, yeah. So build those personas so we can understand. Mr. Coslet.
Hello, Ben. So a couple questions to play with the bear. We've had, I believe you educated me last night, we've had AI for decades. Autocorrect, autocolor, that it's still AI. So but it's still AI. So basically anything that's auto in your Adobe software is a generative, it's an algorithm. Generative AI is just a catchphrase now. So what would you recommend on when you're generating it, that's your photo, you're editing it, something else is helping you to move levels versus something helping you to review words versus what we have to do to counter the 7th warfighting function? Because right now our enemy is exponentially outperforming us, but yet we still have to protect the truth. Second part of the question, so where, in your opinion, if you were looking at the policy and you could write the policy of the day, where should identifying AI go? And then part two, especially for the schoolhouse, how do we get after the human element? So the younger generation, some folks are graduating with a degree and don't know nothing because they use so much AI. How do we protect that in this schoolhouse, in your expertise?
He's right. AI has been around since the 1950s. It's been progressing, and generative AI hit the scene in 2023 when ChatGPT became super popular, right? And that became, everyone's like, generative AI, right? But we've had AI for as long as the B-52 has been flying, technically. Although back then it was like a full room of massive machines doing it. And he's right too, that anytime you ever use the auto enhance or auto levels or auto white balance, it's AI. So where do we draw the line that 5040.02 talks about, the manipulation versus enhancement? What I was always taught was if you can do it in a dark room, then that's enhancement. But if you can't, then it's manipulation. So when we're talking about the Aquafina bottle yesterday, that would be an illustration, not a photo or a straight video. If we're talking about generating articles, the point that we on the Air Force side are embracing AI writing the articles for us is because we understand there's other work that we have to do as PA that's more important than sticking with writing the article. What we have to do is use this moment in time to understand that we don't have to own the byline. Maybe the byline just becomes the shop. This article is written by the 35th Fighter Wing. Editor's note, we used AI to write this article. Then the byline isn't the human, it's the shop coming together as a team to produce content, but also now we have a communication plan for this single article. And this communication plan says, we got to write the article, but also we have to see if the media would be interested in this story. We also have to see if this could improve our relations with the Honorary Commanders program. We also have to see if this story would lead to training better for a crisis event. If the comm plan is thinking about our job as a whole picture and not just one article or one social media post, think in campaigns, not in the singular product. We have to think big picture with public affairs moving forward, because AI can write the comm plan, but then we review and we make it better, because that's what we do. We're humans. Humans are very good at solving problems. AI is very good at replicating us solving problems, but it's still us. Does that kind of help a little bit?
I like the idea of the byline being.
Yeah.
That was kind of what I was trying to do.
Okay. No, it's great. We have to poke the bear. We have to do this better. I haven't had enough coffee, but I mean, the nerves kind of make up for the lack of coffee, so yeah, we're good. Oops.
So I've noticed it, and I'm sure everyone here maybe is falling, on a side, but there is a pushback, in the general community about using AI. And it's whether it's through actors guilds or, wherever it's coming from, popular culture, there is a pushback of using AI. From your position, we're being told, to use it in the military, that it's okay, but there's still this cultural pushback. What's a recommendation? How do you get at maybe overcoming that? I know there's people in my shop that just refuse to use it, period. They're not going to say that out loud because there's a kind of a directive to use it.
My wife also hates AI.
But yeah, what's the best, and you're kind of doing it through your, bringing up recommendations and stuff like that, but is there a better way, or how would we make, maybe build the trust on our team? Because that's maybe a trust issue. Maybe people don't want to use it because they don't trust it or understand it, or there's some fear of a skill set that they have that might be replaced, or that that they're replaceable by AI. How do we get at making everybody comfortable with that?
What we've seen in researching the industry is that the industry is looking for people who are really smart on a specific subject, but also are AI fluent. So how do we do that for public affairs? Well, that's why DINFOS exists. DINFOS exists to make us really smart about PA, to make us really smart about building a campaign that honors a communication plan. We're really smart, or we need to be, about how we build public trust. And we can use AI to shift that. But you're right. How do we get through this change management moment in time where, like my wife, who will spend, as a speech therapist, she spends hours in the evening writing her notes. And I keep telling her, I could write you a prompt for that. She's like, I hate AI. The data centers, they're killing all of the fishes and things. But how much of that is I/O from the enemy? We have to be smarter, and we have to be open, which is easier for me to say because clearly I'm very into AI and I love AI and more AI. But it's a change management issue. And the way that it seems like hasn't worked with my wife yet, but we have to show people how it's useful. We have to show people, hey, you just spent hours writing that civilian appraisal for say you're the 14, and you just wrote this year 12, their appraisal. But what if it only took you 30 minutes because you use AI? And now you have that time back to, in one of my boss's examples, to watch the Brewers do amazing or something, right? So if we look at it from a change management, and I'm sure a Sergeant Major is really smart about change management, and I need to learn from you. We have to approach people at every level with like the personas we brought up earlier. We have people at every level of the adopter bell curve, and understanding if we show people how it's useful, if we show people how we're saving time using it, then maybe we have a chance. But until the majority of people are moving forward with it, we're still going to be stuck in this minority that we are right now of, well, if 2 people in my shop are using it, then it must not be good. It must be terrible. But if most of my shop is using it, then maybe we have this FOMO, and we can bring the late adopters on board. I don't know, does that answer your question?
One of the aspects of it that I didn't bring up is that if you produce a product that says AI generates that refuse to look at, criticize it because you used AI.
So then be smart about that when you're writing your comm plan and you're building the campaign. What has to be human only? Based on the audience. What's the audience appetite for AI versus what's the audience's appetite for human only? We have to understand where to put it, where we can save time. What is, and it's interesting too, you can see in the industry that it seems to be there's going to be this push where, like in Hollywood, human-only content will be more expensive than the AI-assisted content. So then, like in the food industry, you've got organic stuff and the not organic stuff. Organic stuff is more expensive. So then human-only stuff is going to be more expensive. So I don't know if that answers your question. That's another rabbit hole I was almost to fall down. Maybe not. I see your face. It's not working. Sounds like we need to have a working group and talk about this more in depth. Ma'am.
Kind of stuffed on my question. Good morning, Master Sergeant Stratton. Thank you so much. And my question really is probably more for the forum, which is I see that the Air Force is very pushing forward on the tip of the spear of this, but I was curious if there was a community of practice or something with all of the services and perhaps even federal agencies that was included in this research or is being considered for the future.
What I would like to know is if there are other me's in the services so I can collaborate with them. Right now, I don't know of anybody else. Yeah.
There is a federal communicators practice in AI. They meet weekly.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll give you the information.
Excellent. I would love to join that. So I would love to know, I would love to meet the other, if there's PA, RDT&E for the other service branches, I would love to meet them. So we can collaborate and we can build together and, again, unsilo. Sir.
Thank you so much for your presentation and sharing these resources. My question is, what qualitative metrics or ways of assessing the outputs from this writing process are you using? I run a team right now. I have 2 junior writers. They're using way too much AI, and I can tell that the articles we put out, the information we put out, it's not tracking as well. So what processes are you using to assess these time savings and audience engagement? Are you seeing anything worthwhile on that end, or is this more of the input and productivity side?
Right now, AFPA OSZ, Emerging Technology, is me.
Okay.
I'm supposed to get a tech sergeant in the fall, and then it'll be the 2 of us doing this for the DAF-PA enterprise. So we don't have a good way to track metrics. We don't have, because we're still at the early stages here where we don't have a good way to connect with the field, which is why Quill Alphas is still building up and existing. And I know my inbox is flooded with people who, so the MAGCOMs have been sending us people while I've been TDY. I was in Lansing last week for a TDY supporting Northcom. here this week. We're still building up the Alpha Network. We're still building up this council of PA practitioners who want to be smart about AI and help us move forward. But we're not there yet. We're still early stages here, and that's not the answer you wanted. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I was just wondering if you've done any sort of A/B testing on audience engagement with content yet.
We need to get there, but we need the field to give us that feedback, and we haven't built that.
Okay.
We're still early stages, and if we could get more people, human in the loop, to work with, to get more data from the field, then that would be amazing. So if you have contacts and we can work that out, let's do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When's the training tomorrow? Where is it?
The training with the War Media Activity is across the street at the War Media Activity, and it starts at 8:15. Now, the room, that's a great question, but Chief Scaff told me this is like a TED Talk thing, and that makes me even more anxious than this room. So I probably have all sorts of sweat on my magnets here. So yeah, 8:15 across the street at the WMA.
I have another question. To build on that, as we see AI being used more and more to write, how do we continue to grow and develop and make sure that our junior employees are maintaining their skills? If we have staff that's coming in who has used AI since they were children, which is what's happening as the younger generation comes in, and if we have staff that's relying on AI to write things for them, I find that we're losing some foundational skills, both for our writers and for our editorial staff. Our editors coming in are just not quite there. So how do we protect the foundational knowledge that we need to verify the AI is correct and the AI is doing its job, also leveraging these skills leveraging these tools particularly in writing?
We were already losing trade value expertise before AI hit the scene. You look at Air Force, and when I came in, we could go out as a PB&J team, photographer, broadcaster, and journalist. And I was really good at probably still am, I don't know, I haven't written articles in a while, or I use AI. So I was the journalist on the team with the photographer and the broadcaster. So then we weren't jack of all trades, master of none. But is that not where we're at today? Was that not where we're at in 2022 before AI really hit the scene with the generative AI? How do we make sure that that training is still out there? Well, if we don't have the expertise in the field, which there isn't a whole lot, and all of us old writers are getting ready to retire, we can use AI, which is why the prompts have the coach built into them. And the purpose of having coach built into it is to augment the expertise in the field to help train us on how to write. Now, does all AI know how to write as well as DINFOS trained us back in the day? Probably not. But how do we get that training in the field? That's a question for a working group, I think, because I don't have the answers. I would love to see more writing skills brought back. I would love to see less of the jack of all trades approach, but probably not going to get that in the current budget environment. That doesn't really answer your question or give you warm and fuzzy, but I don't know that there is any warm and fuzzy to give unless we can bring back B past W. That doesn't answer your question. That was a terrible response. I'm sorry.
So the Air Force does a pretty good job with this with other career fields. It's an exercise. It would be like a communication out, meaning you have no computers, you're going back to pad and pen papers, and your leaderships run that. Now, AI can help you generate this. So at a wing, I've sat down and done an ORI level exercise, which normally takes about 120 days to plan, 15 to 40 people, experts, to put it in a room. I can put them in a room and in 4 hours give you a 120-day plan of metal for that exercise. We can do the same in PA. The medical practice, the field, They are required, they have combat skills that they have to maintain, but when they're here in CONUS, they don't get to practice them. What do? They exercise. They put themselves in austere conditions to practice and sharpen their skills. Number two, maintenance. I used to be a maintainer, and we used to work on airplanes. In order to do that, we would have quality assurance. In each quarter, you can cycle, and you can have a plan. AI can help you make that plan to test. Okay, this quarter, you're going to be tested 4 times on a surprise and a moment's notice, meaning it's a no-notice inspection, and I'm going to see if you can write this article. And then you give a pass or fail grade. You can take a photo, pass or fail grade. So the answer's already out there in other career fields, and we've been doing it for decades. So I think it's no different for PA. So if you want to keep your skills sharp, it's the leader, it's the human in that office that sets that condition. If you're a boss that just says, gimme, 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 you're just going to get AI. If you do not create an atmosphere, like I like 75-25, I like 75% of the schedule is going to be dictated to us. We don't have a control. But as a boss, if you can control that 25% for creativity. So for me, I told him my philosophy is automate the mundane to make time for the wonderful. And it's up to the leader, the communicator in the room to make that happen. The answer is already out there. So to me, we can do a working group, but we could probably sit down in an afternoon and create a program, cross all DoD, and be done with it.
Assume there wasn't a question in that. So. That was a really great statement, though.
Hey, good morning. I'm Carlos Berger with the Army's Digital Media Division. 2 things. So the Army recently, last year, we tried to build a knowledge management section within our digital media division that was doing a lot of the same things you were doing. So the first part of my statement is I would love to actually get with you and make that connection. We were trying to do what you do. But my question is, with the time saving in your research and your development, do you have a specific number? Because I'm a very results driven. How much time have you found that you're saving overall? Because it sounds excellent and is good in theory, and I personally am a fan of AI, and I buy into everything you're saying. But for our commanders, for our leadership, the numbers matter more. So how much time have you found that you're saving doing these things versus to doing them the organic way?
The problem is, like I told the gentleman earlier, I don't have the data from the field, and I need the data from the field to give you a real answer. But in the collabs that I have done, and I forced them to do the 5 deliverables in 45 minutes, they had to, so I did, at the Air Force PA Superintendent Workshop a few weeks ago, I had an hour with them. I gave them a 15-minute overview on, here's Quill, and here's everything we have on the AFNet PA SharePoint. Now, here are the 5 things you got to do in the next 45 minutes. So we used the Kirtland F-35 crash from 2024 as our example because all the data and all the media reports are already out there. And we could use the media summary and media analyst prompts. So their job then was to draft the media advisory. Their job was also to write an achievement medal for their airman who was the first on scene. Their job was to create talking points for their boss to talk in front of the media. Their job was to create a media summary on all of the events and articles that had been written up to that point, right? And their job was to prepare a crisis communication plan for future events like that. And they had to get all 5 of those things done in 45 minutes. They got all of them done in 35 minutes. So if that is a metric for you, the point is these things normally would take hours or days to do, but now we can do it in under an hour. Were they really good products? I didn't get to look at them because they hit their 45-minute mark and there was the next briefer. But the point is try to save time by putting AI where it can help you get the work done faster that the AI is good at. It's good at writing a comm plan. It's good at writing a staff report article. but it's not good at the interpersonal communication. It's not good at understanding that the EOD airmen or the firehouse airmen, well, they'll let you take their photos if you give them a case of beer, and you show up and you hang out with them and understand them. That's stuff that AI can't replace. To your metrics question, how much time are we saving? It's more so that we're saving time to redistribute and reshape where we're spending our time right now.
So one follow-up question to that. So with that, the time saving, do you find, or would it be a safe assumption that more time would be spent in the editorial process? Because looking at, just speaking for myself, if I have, soldiers that are using AI, I'm going to make certain that my editorial process is more robust so that it's less of that AI feel, or I understand my audience a little bit better. So would you say that shift in terms of creation goes more towards the editorial to make that process, that product correct, versus the actual creation of the process?
So the point behind developing and quill prompts that are really good at writing articles is that if you prompt an AI effectively, it won't sound like AI. And if it does sound like AI, there is a prompt for that. Just like there used to be, there's an app for that. Now there's a prompt for that. There's a quality review prompt that is available in those prompts, and it walks through your article before you hit the editorial step. It walks it through a 5-step process. It assesses it for copyright infringement, it assesses it for AI-isms, it assesses it for flow, it assesses it for all sorts of great things. It also does a thing called pre-mortem, and pre-mortem is a really cool thing that if you tell an AI, do a pre-mortem assessment on this thing that I want to put out, pre-mortem tells the AI, assume everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and then help me build this better so that things don't go wrong. And then you can keep iterating on that pre-mortem concept. Everything went wrong. My comm plan ended up being terrible, and now the media is at the door and they want answers. Well, with the pre-mortem, you can prepare better. So the quality review prompt does that for you. So the point is, how do we save time with AI? Well, you can save time by writing the article, by drafting it. Then you can save time with a better review. So really well-structured prompts will get a much better result out of the AI. Is that okay? I think Mel's going to yell at me in a second, but do we have time for one more?
Yep, break time.
It's your break time. Okay.
Eric Toomer, Strategic Communications and Public Affairs, TSA. My question is, what's being done to educate writers before they come in? Because if all you've done is AI and all you've been trained to do is AI and you haven't been taught structure. When I was in school, we got taught how to write a story. We got taught how to do things long before AI existed. And if you get a person into your job and they've only done AI, it's difficult at that point in time to teach them how to actually write a story themselves.
I think AI is just an extra step in that learning journey. So like when I came through B past W, our first 2 weeks was gram cram. Understand grammar, understand the AP style book. Had to memorize all this grammar that maybe we weren't taught in school. And that was step 1.
Okay.
And then step 2 was honing the craft, understanding how to write. And then maybe the next step is, okay, now that you know how to write and you know what good looks like, let me show you what this AI tool can do and save you time.
That makes sense.
Right? I mean, like if we build the foundation, then we can use AI to save the time. Does that answer your question?
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Guess what? You get a tumbler.
Hey.
They're on sale. Way to go. I do have some comments based on some of the stuff he said, but I didn't want to interrupt anybody. Those of you who are in, hopefully we're not still live. For those of you who are in the Department of War and you're looking for some writing training for your people, give me a call, send me an email. My job is the Mobile Training Team Program Manager for DINFOS, and I support the Department of War across all activities, not just the services, but across all activities. I have writing workshops that I've put together. I'm working on a grammar slam for one of the units. So I'm here to help you. I also want to let you know that I know that Rhonda talked a little bit about the intermediate journalism course that they're putting together, still talking Department of War a little bit here. We're hoping that gets a little bigger and we can get more people in here for that. And then going back to our entry level, we're not teaching them AI, we are still teaching them foundation so they know what right looks like. The last thing I will say is there are so many great things on Pavilion that talk about writing, talk about editing, copy editing, proofreading, giving you step-by-step on how to do that. Now, if you are outside the Department of War and you need some training, I can't give you training. But what I can do is help you put together training for your people. I'm here to help. Not just here at Training Days, but every day. So give me a call if you have some stuff that you want me to work on. Like I said, I can't do training outside of the Department of War, but I can show you how, and you can request materials from DINFOS. There's a way to do that. I can help you put together a workshop and you can request materials through DINFOS. So that's kind of how we collaborate in that. So don't give up hope. Many of us still believe in those foundational structures on writing. I too am a writer. Navy writer is how I started out, Navy journalist. So I'm here. And then also you've just built a big network, right? Not yet, you gotta wait till after lunch. Yeah, don't give up hope. Give me a holler. How's that sound? Good? Okay, you are now on break till 10:30.